organize intervention or for any community work. You must sell your projects or the intervention that you have in mind that you want to undertake in the community. You must sell that to the chief, to the opinion leaders, to opposition leaders, to the people who matter in the community. And when those people buy into your idea, you'll be successful. But if you don't sell the idea to the one in charge of that community, the one who will power in that community, you will not be successful. So if, for example, I am going to a community now for education on COVID, and I'm able to meet the chief or the queen mother or somebody that they revere so much in the community, that everybody look up to. If that person buy into my idea, you will see that everybody will buy into the idea that I brought or I am bringing to the community. However, if that person say no, everybody will run away from you. You will not be able to achieve what you are supposed to achieve or what you have gone there for. So it is always advisable that you sell your opinion or the project for which you are in the community to the people who hold power in the community. And you know, in most of our communities, they are chiefs. But this day, you know, some assemblymen are more powerful than the chiefs this day. So look for those individuals who hold power in the community to sell your message to or your project to, and immediately they buy into it, you'll be successful. For example, you have realized that there's malnutrition in the community. The children are not looking good. Pregnant women are not looking good. You don't go and say, oh, I want to change the way your children look and all that. It's an insult when you go and say that. But I said that you have a project. And this is your project. This is what the project will do. We want our children to be intelligent in school, for them to do well in this. So when you say that and the chief or whoever is in charge bought into that idea, okay, if we do this, our children will be school and this, and you're able to do it, and the children change, their malnutrition is over and they are looking good, then you can go back and say, you see the intervention, you see what the projects are brought. Then they own the program. So even if you are not there in future, and people are not trying to follow the intervention that you bring, the chief will ensure that everybody follow because they have bought into the idea that you brought to the community. So it is always important that you sell your project to them, to the chief or those who matter in the community, so that you can get absolute backing. And you must also consult, seek advice. You know, one of the issues that you must also look at is that you don't know it all. The terrain that you are going, you don't know more. You don't know much. So you also need to go and even find out how you do your community entry. It is important to get people, read about the community, what the thing that they believe in, what are the things that are lacking. So you must also learn, have a lot of consultation to understand what's transpired, what is going on there before you can give the advice. So you yourself, you need consultancy in that particular community. Then information, education, and communication to the general public. After those people are bought into the idea, they will even organize the whole community for you. They are going to organize the entire community for you for the information, education, and communicating to general public. So when the chief actually accepts your intervention, the assembly member or the significant others in the community, they will rather mobilize the people for you so that you can pass your message across. And they will even help you when you are delivering. They will come in intermittently to add more to what you are saying. So you have opportunity to address the entire population or the community with your project. Then we call something become co-creation, partnership. Because they bought into the idea, it is not you alone that is bringing the project on now, but the entire community is also being a partner in the project that you are bringing on board. And when the community have seen it and they become partner, or they became partner of your program, even when you live 100 years, that program will continue to run, because they are now partners. They are not just how do you call it, spectators. They are partners now in development. It's a co-creation. You and them, you have come together to come out with a project. So since the two of you have come together, it's a partnership. So they see that they are owners of the items or the intervention. There's ownership, and therefore they are happy to be part of that and be owners of that project, and they will always contribute to whatever it takes to make that project work. So all the time, ensure if people buy into the idea, it become co-creation or partnership, and therefore that is likely to sustain the program even when you are no longer in that particular area. They also bring what we call cost sharing, the roles and responsibility sharing. Cost sharing, in fact, if you don't give out the information and the chief and the community do not buy into the idea, then even the canopy, the seat that you have to get for people to sit under to listen to whatever you want to say, you are going to pay for it, because they don't understand what you are doing. But when they buy into it, the assemblyman will organize people for you. When the project that you are bringing on board, some of them will be willing to provide labor. Masons in the community will provide labor. If it's about water projects, KVIP project and all that, they'll be able to what? Provide labor. They'll say, okay, let's contribute money for the maintenance. So the cost, you share the cost. It's not you alone that is going to be part of that particular project and pay. But it become a cost sharing for somebody who is intervening, and the community. So the two of you are coming together, and that also lessens the burden on you. Then, in organizing your DEBA, you must also prepare the community. Preparation of community for the DEBA is very important. Given the date, time, the venue, and what is going into that particular DEBA, let them have all of that. Then you prepare them, you cite them psychologically so they are aware. Then organization of the resources, your audiovisuals, get the people in the community that will get you furniture, the canopy, especially when they buy into it, water for the projects, and all of that. So you organize the resources for the project or for the DEBA. Then preparation of DEBA ground. You must clear the place if it is a place that is not well, how do you call it, maintained, or you think that it's a place that is bushy. You must get time where we can clear the place together and put it in a proper use, or put it in a place that everybody who will come and look at it, yes, that a lot of work has gone into it. Not just do anything anyhow. You must also clear the place, the DEBA ground, in preparation, in anticipation for the DEBA that will take place. Then pre-testing of your equipment. You remember when I was talking about audiovisuals? You must also pre-test your equipment ahead of time so that you can resolve some of the challenges that are coming up. So that when the time is due for your program, you don't have that kind of disappointment. Even their machines, sometimes you do all of this, they'll give you disappointment, but you must also put measures in place to do all of this so that whatever may be the case, you will not have much bigger problem as you start your program. The following outline of the program is very important. Some people, when they see the crowd like that, they are carried out, they are carried away. When they are carried away, they begin to talk about things that are not even interesting, things that are not part of the project, things that are not part of the project you want to bring. But because you have seen numbers, you want to show off. And that can affect your message. So always ensure that You have an outline of whatever you are coming to do or whatever you are coming to say, so that you don't digress. So it is important that you follow your program. You remember what a lot of people say about Rollins. When you give a speech to him, when you see the crowd like that, you put the speech aside and talk about whatever you feel about. And that also, you give a lot of information that people don't even concentrate on what you are saying. So stick to your outline or program. And you know, one of the things that draw us to programs, especially when we were students, is item 13. I remember in school, even people are coming to organize wedding ceremony on campus, even though you have not been invited. You put your suit and go and sit down as if somebody invited you. Because of what? Item 13, especially when the semester is coming to an end. And you know that pockets, everything is dry. So when you are organizing your program, somebody is not even interested in whatever you want to say. But because you have indicated, you have made provision for refreshment, the person will come. Because you want to enjoy whatever you are bringing from the city or wherever you are coming from. So that will force him or her to come and listen to all that you are coming to say. And when you are talking too much, they will be saying, we want item 13. Finish quickly so that we can enjoy whatever brought us here and go. So when you are organizing community debates, it's a saying that you can't go to the chief palace with what? Empty-handed. You must bring something, or you must carry something along when you are going there. The same way, when you are going to the community to organize this debate, we cannot close and tell people to go like that. The chiefs and elders to just go like that. They need to drink water. They need to take coke. They need to take something to show that, yes, they have been to a program. Sometimes they carry those food items or water to the house to show that they have been to program, to let others know that, yes, they have been to this place. So it is important that you also make provision for that. Please, if you have any question, you can pause me and ask the question. Then you also communicate ideas. When your debates are properly used for you to communicate your ideas. So if I ask you uses of community debate, one of the issues is to communicate ideas that you have. Of course, why do you organize the debate? To communicate your intentions, the ideas that you have for the community. So first, the importance of community debate, one is what? To communicate your ideas. To develop a program. Yes, we have this. You are thinking about it. You have the idea. Now you are selling that idea to the community. So both of you can develop that program, which become a very important intervention. For example, I spoke about how CHIP program, the chips that we are practicing today in Ghana, it became a full program today. It was just research sharing at, how do you call it, Navrongo in the Upper East region. And they were bringing various districts participants to listen to their findings and see how best they can. And one group from Nkonta, they say, okay, if this is the case, so they suggest in their presentation how they put you in groups to come and do your presentation. And they came up with this nice method that, this thing can be implemented across the entire country with a little support from Ghana Health Service, where the community themselves would provide cheap compounds or build houses and provide resources, and government is to train community health nurses and send them to these areas. And that is the idea that was being shared between Navrongo Research Center and the participant. And together with the researcher participant, they developed this program, and today it's doing a lot of interventions in our villages, in our communities, especially the countryside. So that's how you can also develop a program out of your community debates. And also seek community support for your program. And remember, it also helps you to seek support for a community program. You remember I talked about the chiefs, elders, assembly member, people who hold power in that community, and all other people that matter. They all need you need their assistance to be able to carry out the project. So you must also seek their support. So seek community support. So your DEBA is a way of seeking support from the community for the project that you want to undertake. They also determine or develop consensus. It's a community, so you must be able to develop consensus with the community. And that will make the project work in the community. So you must also try as much as possible to develop that consensus with the community. All of you will be the same page when it comes to that particular project. Then the resources available. The community also tell you the resources that they have and those that they do not have. And that can also help you to know what kind of resources do you need to provide for the project. And which kind of resources are you likely to get in the community. So all of this also help you to do that. Then moving forward, you also decide on cultural and social acceptability. There are things that in certain communities will not be accepted. Others will be accepted. Do you have anything in mind, as example, that there are projects that because of their cultural background, they will not be able to accept that project in the community? Any intervention that they said because this is against our culture, therefore we cannot accept it? Anybody like that? Have any experience like that to share with us? Anybody have experience to share with us where the entire society is against that particular project or intervention because of their culture? Anybody? Anybody?
Okay.
Oh, but we are hearing about LG, the gays and lesbians. You see that the Ghanaian society said that they cannot accept that intervention, whatever it is, even if they want to give us aid, either health sector or economy, we are ready to fulfill because we will not accept gay rights in our country because that is against our culture. You see that? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Did you see that? Because
Yes, sir.
Ghanaians say that it's against their culture, and therefore they all revolt against what? The gay and lesbian rights in Ghana. So we are saying that yes, you can also decide to go in for intervention. Now I want to help all of you, or I want to intervene so that you accept gay people in your country as any normal human being. But the culture of the people will say, no, this is not what we want. And therefore they will sack you. Who dare you to go to any Muslim community and talk about gay rights? If you don't take that, you will not live. Because it's a haram. It's unacceptable in Islam. So based on people's culture, they will allow you to bring that particular intervention. So you can use your community, the culture of the community to also help you to know what the things that people can actually decide on to do or otherwise. So when you roll your DEBA, you get to know the things that community can do and things that they cannot do, so that you can also streamline your activities to meet all of those challenges or demands in the community. Then you must also refine your plans and actions. After you have had that discussion with the community or the DEBA, that also inform you how you come with your programs and your actions because of the things that they have told you. The resources that they have already, you don't make provision for them. Those that they don't have, they must structure your program to cater for them. And the acceptability, things that are acceptable in the community, you also know, and those that are not, you also know. So community the best help you to achieve these factors that I have discussed about.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, we are getting a lot of feedback from Adobo Wisdom. Sir, can you mute his mic for us?
Okay, okay. All right. Any question? So there are some common communication barriers or problems at the workplaces. One is of fear. When you are afraid, it becomes difficult for you to make up your point or to make your point. So fear can also prevent you from communication. Fear can prevent you from saying whatever you want to say. The other one is fatigue. When you are tired, frustration, because of probably your experience with a group of people or an individual. Then forgetfulness. When you also forget about things so quickly that you cannot recollect all that you want to say, that can also affect, that can also be a barrier. Then haste. Some of us, we are in hurry. We want to finish quickly and go and do other things. As a result of that, we don't communicate proper to our audience. Unclear instructions. When you don't get the instruction clearly, your communication is also hampered. So there's need for you to understand clearly what the instructions are before you be able to do well. Too much or too little information, that does not help, especially too much information. When you are giving so much information at a go, people don't even know where to start from. And when you are giving too little about the entire project or intervention, that also serves as a barrier to whatever you are communicating about. Then poor reading habits. Some of us, we don't read. So things that has happened 20 years after, we'll be talking about them. Meanwhile, society has progressed and there are new ways of doing things. So it is always important that you read, acquired reading habits as a health promoter or public health personnel so that you'll be able to communicate properly. Asking clumsy questions. Some questions that are not clear, questions that people cannot even differentiate what exactly you're asking. How do they provide you answers? Personal problems. You don't go and want to talk and you add your own problems to it. You are teaching or you are providing education in a community, then you have added your own problems from home. So I have to finish early, I have to do this, I have to do this. That will distract whatever you are saying, and that cannot give people better understanding of whatever you are saying. So those things become a barrier and they affect your communication or the message that you want to put across. Poor timing of meetings, especially if you find yourself at urban areas and you put meeting on weekdays while everybody is struggling to make money to feed themselves. Who will stay in the house for you to come and meet at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. for your deba? You will not see them. So go and find out the days that they have beliefs and practices, they don't go to work, they don't go to fishing. So that you set your date on those days. Go out and find out if Sundays after church, everybody's at home. Even if not everybody, majority. So that you set your times at that time, or you set your meeting on those times. Other than that, you not achieve whatever you want to. And those serve as a barrier. You go there, you don't see anybody. How do you communicate? Then it becomes a challenge. Then language problem. The choice of words is very important. And also sometimes if you don't understand the language of the community, it becomes a challenge. That means you must recruit somebody who understands to be an interpreter of whatever is going to happen. So language can also serve as a barrier. And we know that whatever you have said, the person cannot repeat you 100%. They may either add some or leave some, or add some and then subtract some from whatever you are saying. So language can also serve as a barrier. When there are no notice board available, that can also serve as a barrier. In some cases, you can't meet the people and talk to them. But when there are notice board, you can put it there, they'll read, especially educated community. They are in the office 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, even in the evening. But when you put it on notice, when they are back, they take the leaflets and whatever it is, they read on their notice boards, especially at workplaces, work environments. And that way you're also communicating because the person read. And when there's a need to call you, your numbers are provided. What? District health management teams. Some occasions, some of the meetings can also serve as a barrier because you're also supposed to be present at those meetings. So some of these occasional meetings can also serve as a barrier, especially at workplace. When you have to do that and yet you're supposed to provide education, and that time is clashing. It affects your education. Then the barriers or obstacles barrier to effective communication. Age difference. Who can tell us something about age difference? How does age difference affect effective communication? Or is it a barrier to effective communication? My people, are you here?
Yes, sir, we are here.
Yes. I'm asking, how can age difference serve as a barrier
Yes, sir.
to effective
Yes, sir.
communication?
Yes. Hello.
Hello?
Sir.
Yes? I can't hear you, bro.
For example, yes, an example is yes. Can I talk, sir?
Yes, please do.
Yes. An example is, for instance, a 50-year-old
We're having a
man married
feedback.
to
We're having a
a
feedback.
20-year-old girl. During time of communication, the man will be talking about the things that in Chroma did. The girl
There's a feedback. We can't hear you. There's a very terrible feedback. We can't hear you. Hello? There's a very bad feedback there. It's echoing at the background. It's very difficult for us to hear you. Yes.
The age difference, sometimes age difference, yeah, mental capability, the ability to understand certain things, because certain maturity might not say.
Oh, why your lines, all of the lines are like that?
It makes it difficult for you to.
Okay. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes too, when you are communicating with an elderly person, your ability to express yourself very well sometimes is limited because of the age difference.
Yeah.
There are some things you are feeling shy, or you think that if you say it, they will say you don't respect. So you restrict your
Okay.
how you express yourself.
Okay. That's good. Any other? Yes.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, with their cognitive development,
Yeah.
a difference, the cognitive development can also prevent them to understand certain issues.
Okay. Yeah, there was a lady who was saying something, but the line was bad. We couldn't hear. Any other? What about different economic status? How does that affect communication? Difference in economic status.
Yeah, so this one is also like the way you were comparing nurses, doctor with the others.
Yeah.
So someone who is poor, say low economic background, communicating with someone who is rich, the person will not feel comfortable in the same way expressing yourself. So you see something like that.
Yeah.
So it's also in the same vein.
And remember, even this appear in family meetings.
Yes. If
Well,
you don't have good stand, you have to keep
yeah.
quiet a little bit.
Exactly. Okay. What about language difference or inappropriate vocabulary? People are not talking. I'll be mentioning names. So
I'm sure this evening the network is not good.
okay. Then we'll soon close. The language difference is also there. If you are using jargons,
differences, sometimes it has to do with culture.
okay.
It has to do with culture.
How? Why?
So I think
Yeah, so
the network is
the language
network-
difference is like what you have explained the first time. Maybe the person doesn't understand the language, or the person don't know how to choose appropriate words in the communication. So sometimes you use some words which might be offensive. Probably you didn't know. So the choice of words that you use in your communication, and then maybe sometimes the tone can also affect what you are saying. So either you don't understand the language, or the choice of words can also bring a problem.
Okay. Then negative attitudes.
Sir, with the culture,
Yeah.
with the culture, you see, there are some words that are familiar with certain culture. So they are trending words that are trend. So they tend to go with those words. So if you can't communicate well with those words, it's difficult for them to understand.
Okay. Negative attitudes as a barrier.
So if you are speaking with somebody, you have to look into the person's face. But when somebody is speaking to you and it's like your attention is not on what the person is telling you, or you are walking away from the person while answering the person, is some of the negative attitudes that can affect communication.
Okay. Inadequate knowledge about the life and custom of the community. If you don't have much knowledge about the life and the customs of the community, can that also affect your communication?
Yes, it can.
In which way?
Maybe if you're going to, let's say, address a people, and then you have to probably go and see the chiefs first. Maybe in that community, you need to present wine and snack before you can even talk to them. Maybe you don't know, and you just walk in there assuming that that's how you approach the chiefs. It will probably send a bad signal to them.
Yeah. Good. The indiscriminate challenge of too many of the people's beliefs. What do you think about that? Some of us, when we get to the village, we think we have know everything. And everything in the community, we are seeing that there's something wrong with it. Everything. So what do you say about that one?
If they see that you are always against their beliefs, they will not accept whatever intervention you want to give to them.
Okay. So you must, even though there are some that you disagree with, you can disagree with the way it is performed, but not be against it. It is their tradition. You can be against how widowhood right is performed, but you are not against the practice itself. So you can suggest a way that will reduce the exposure to disease conditions.
And even with that too, if you don't take time, you might concentrate on changing their minds about their beliefs instead of communicating what you actually need to communicate to them.
Exactly. Good. So it is always important that you realize the needs of the community, their belief system, you understand. So that I don't go there and criticize everything, even the water they gave you in the calabash too, you criticize it. And when they give you water, you don't take it. That means that one they don't listen to you. Yes, you don't like them. So either you drink or not, you must take the water and pour some on the ground. Then it's accepted that you have. Then bad presentation, that one we all know. When your presentation is so bad, it's not structured. You keep going back and forth. So people don't even know where you start from and when you are ending. Then noisy nuisance, that one we know. When the whole environment is so noisy that people cannot even hear what you are saying, that can also affect your delivery. So all of these factors can affect effective communication to change behavior.